Our today's guest is Audrye Arbe. She is a wonderful person. You will absolutely love her. Her energy is totally awesome. She's an intuitive healer. She's a therapist. She's a speaker. She's an artist. She's a diversity expert and a published author. Like, she's so many things. I'm sure that we will not be able to follow every single piece, but we'll look at interesting directions, especially what has to do with the direction that humanity is going today. So welcome, Audrye.
Thank you so much, Eugenia. Thank you for having me here. This is an absolute delight.
Oh, well, let's start by kind of explaining what is it that you've been into, because as I said here, you do so many things, and I know that this planetary shift of going into the energetics that, you wrote the book about it and you have courses on that, and this is all on diversity and healing consciousness, right, of humanity. So let's start there. Can you explain more on that?
Okay, first of all, let me spell my name for people so they'll know it's correct. Audrye is how I spell my name. So that's correct. You can find me everywhere. Audrye now. That's me. Audrye. Okay, so I am a born mystic intuitive. When I was a kid, I thought this was normal. Well, to me it is. I have a way of simply knowing certain things. It comes to me. I'm shown it. I feel it, I see it, I sense it, it comes in different ways. Now and then I hear it. That is interesting. My work. See, I've known since I was a child, because I was shown it, that I was here, quote unquote, to make the world better. That was the way I understood it as a kid. Now, an adult, what my main work is to bring light. The guides actually told me once, that's it. I am here to be, they called it like bring light, shine light, be a lighthouse. So I said, what about my paintings? And this other stuff, they said, that's extra. That's if you want to do it. And I thought, well, yeah, I do. But basically bring light. And at this time, when there were so many shifts, and that's SHIFTS, shifts and changes occurring, this is actually an amazing time. This is a time where anyone who chooses it can truly grow and evolve. And do we need it? Yes. Yes, we need it personally, and we need it globally. I don't think I need to point out stuff that's happening on the planet or wherever it may be that you live. It's simply there. So consciousness, not just intellectual consciousness, that's vitally important. Energetic frequency, up-leveling it is really important. The guides gave me a term, oh my God, how long ago? Over 20 years ago, called genetic karmic patterning, GKP. I use it a lot. And what that refers to is when a person is born, they not only get some of the qualities, physical and whatever, of their parents, whoever it is that created it, because these days with CRISPR and other things, we definitely more than two people, could be whatever it is. And so GKP, genetic karmic patterning, is every person, whatever they may be, not only inherits some level of physical traits, there's also emotional possibilities, attitudes, belief system can be very subtle. And that could be from one's genealogical line, as well as, I will call it, your spiritual line, past lives, whether you use that language or not, or one other language, I'll use it for simplicity, whether you've been on this planet, that planet, or you've had this or that life, wherever, there's an effect. And whether you say it's in the Akashic record, or some people call it the Akash, or within ourselves, it is there. And if we refrain from clearing some of that stuff, it will manipulate you. And some of it is wonderful stuff. Some of it is great. That you give thanks for and you manifest. But the junk, one of my terms, JUNQUE or JUNK, whoever you want. Okay, the junk you don't need. None of us do. So I have ways. As a healer, I'm a clairvoyant, I do readings, I'm a healer, I'm an energy frequency healer, but I also have courses, and they're online. My latest one is, I call it the ISM course, Ism Freedom. It's called Ism Freedom, Be Free of the Causes and Effects of Racism, Sexism, and Other Isms. And it helps people do that. You will get clear. I have my first course, which I think of, not the first course I ever did. I've done many, 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 many. But the first online course is the Morph course, Morph into the Magic of Self-Love, Soul, Essence, Self, and Ego, Personality, Self. Because without that, folks, you're not going to go where you need to go. Took me years to really love myself. Years. I do now. And if someone asks, do you love every aspect of your body? Because I've done that in seminars. And I don't this, I don't like, all that. I do love my body. Would I like to tweak some of it to have it be whatever? Sure. But do I love? Yes. And has it taken something? Yes. And it makes anyone's life easier when you can love yourself. Doesn't mean that there's no room for improvement. There is always room, space, and possibility for the next levels. Okay.
Yeah.
I just learned, I'm laughing at this next thing, because I help people uplift their frequency. I do it every day myself with breathing attunements, meditation, prayer, and various other music, paintings, okay, and various other ways. And then in reading a book, I had never considered that I was gallivanting in the quantum realm. I simply called it lifting my frequency. And then I read a book, I'm in the book by Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he's talking about the quantum realm and the quantum field. And what he's saying, I said, I do that every day. And so I'm thinking, so for years, I have been in and out of the quantum field. So I'm finding that very interesting. And yes, I do laugh about it because I have a sense of humor. So
and this is interesting to see the process of evolution too, is that I think for most human beings, the imprinting, the conditioning, the programming, whatever karmic crap that we take on pretty much from the universe and from our genetic line and from the planet is part of the transformation and lesson that connects to self-love and self-worth and self-value. And then out of that comes out the cleansing of like what you're calling the isms, like all sorts of ism. In my translation would be a limited parameter, a program that has a specific controlling effect. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, there are people who think that, okay, let me find a very elegant way to say this. There are some people who think if they're on the top tier, whatever it might be, whether it's race, whether it's sex, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's age, whatever it is, culture, and if someone thinks I'm the best, and everyone else or someone else are less than, that doesn't work. First of all, everything is connected. We are all related, whether we look alike, speak the same language, or whatever. It doesn't matter. Everything is connected. That's even known in science through quantum mechanics. And I'm not a scientist. I'm a metaphysician, but I don't do it through mathematics. Okay, I do it through the way that I do it and this other. So when anyone actually thinks they are better, worse, that hurts them, and it hurts everyone. Nobody does better in life if they think they are better than fill in the blank, whatever it is. And not everyone, boy, have I seen this. Not everybody wants to take responsibility for how they, you, her, him, it, G, Z, all, however somebody self-identifies. It doesn't work. When someone thinks that they're automatically less than, or automatically better than, they're hurting themselves. And when anyone hurts themselves inadvertently, they're hurting everyone else. So it's important, it is truly important to love yourself. You may want to shift things. I'd love to look the way I did at 18. I would love to look the way I look at 18. I'm not 18, okay? So I look a little different, still look nice. Doesn't mean not to take care of yourself. In fact, that's a really important thing. So I'm going to toss this in there. If you want to live a really great life, truly, it's important to take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically, your frequency, financially. They can all have different places, and some might be more important to you. But to deny any of that could be a way of denying your own well-being. If people think that when you get quote unquote old or older, you're going to fall apart, you don't have to. My guides let me know long ago that we humans literally are capable of living over 2,000 years. I thought that was interesting. And they said, unlikely now because of attitudes, habits, the state of the earth, all of that. But they told me that easily 250 years, and certainly at this day and age, 120. Does that mean you can be sloppy and haphazard with yourself and expect that? No. No. You have to have some wisdom and a sense of humor and clear stuff. And I have techniques for that.
And that's actually an interesting point as to shifting the energy. Like on the planetary scale, we're going from the age of survival by planning into individuality. And I find that in the spiritual community, a lot of times people kind of want to merge with oneness almost like prematurely before they become fully individuals and clean up all the layers of everything. Because, you know, like we go from the tribal, which is the controlling kind of a patriarchal kind of a structure of sort of oneness, but fake oneness, into individuality, which is where you're meant to bring your gift and serve. And then through that, collaboration, which is the other level of oneness. So that's why I see like a lot of times people try to skip the individuality and hop into some homogenous oneness as if that's the way to be, when actually it's giving up the power instead of amplifying the power. So can you speak to that? Because I think you're doing very similar work on that, right? Like that's kind of what you're integrating into what you do.
First of all, I don't want to be homogenous and be everything. Okay, that just no. Okay,
exactly.
That's a solid no.
Me neither.
Okay, okay. I love who I am, and that doesn't mean that my soul is no. According to some people, we share souls and all that kind of thing. We are in the age of Aquarius right now. We are not in the age of Pisces. And how do we know? Okay. Usually there's a cusp period that could actually be 1 or 200 years, but I know we are in the age of Aquarius. So many groups. The minute everything started with meetups, I said, aha, okay, because Aquarius, the age of is groups. And now that we have so many people that are transgender, which was not the case when I was a little kid. And it isn't only because now people can talk about it, it's also because it's happening more. And it doesn't mean anyone who thinks when they're a kid they're transgender, maybe they're not. Okay, so it isn't like everybody knows, because there's a different level of exploration now with sex and gender and many different things. Wait till we know how to do stuff in our brain. The guys have shown me this. We'll be able to shift our complexion to this color, that color, and the other color. We'll be able to change our hair. No, this is my natural curl. Okay, people asked, how do I do it? It is, okay? It's my DNA. And that people will be able to do this. So in terms of, if you don't know who you are, your soul essence, why you're here, and there's not just one little reason. And we could say, oh, we're all here to grow and love. Yes, we are. That is true. But everyone has their own particular way it might be. Somebody might be a protector. I'm a healer. Okay, I'm also an artist. I'm a creator. I'm a writer. And who knows what the next thing is. I grow food, okay? I have 12 pineapple plants growing, but I'm waiting for the pineapples. Anyway, literally. And all of this kind of stuff.
That should be like a statement. I'm waiting for the pineapple. That's great.
Okay. If someone doesn't know their own issues, what they're clearing, what they're not clearing, how their behavior actually lands on the earth, what are you going to merge into? What are you bringing? If you're bringing a lot of yuck, which people have yuck, okay, I'm not saying only one person. We all have to clear stuff. If you're bringing a lot of yucky poo, like that kind of stuff, and think, oh, this is wonderful. No, it's up to you to do some of the work of clearing. And when somebody's head is talking a whole lot of garbage, the guides gave me something called the protective prayer, which I will give you free when we complete, and I'll tell you more about it at that time. That's our individual responsibility. We all have to be accountable. The age of Aquarius, part of it is each person. It has to be accountable. Nobody's going to come and save you per se. We support one another to grow. We don't save you, because on one level, that's actually disrespecting that somebody has the ability to actually connect to whatever you call the all in all that we're part of. Goddess, God, source, Allah, great spirit, or whatever your language is, okay, the universe, okay, whatever. If someone refuses to do that, they don't have to do that. And they can still come into the group, because we are in the group. You can't not be in the group. But if somebody chooses to lower their frequency, which at any point any of us could do for a moment, that's not the same as making the choice to lower it. Years ago, I had clients asking me, what did I see happening at a certain point? So I tuned in, and what I saw, and it was a little scary, what I saw at the time was part of the human species. It looked like they were going to devolve. That was kind of horrifying. And it was a choice. I'm not saying someone says, I think that's what I'll do with my life. I will devolve. Very few people actually say that, but one's behavior, one's words, what one does, how one thinks, the way one behaves, either makes that happen or not. Others, this is what I would show, we're going to really evolve, and with their action, with their attitudes, to such a level, some, that it would be what we might want to call the next level of our species. And some are going to sit in this, I don't know, I'll see if I decide. Well, I'm here to tell you, there's no more deciding. Decide now. And my suggestion is to evolve. And then people ask me, and I'm going to laugh at this, does it take any kind of effort? And yes, it does.
Yeah, I always say that consciousness takes effort. If you don't apply effort, you go right back to your conditioning and programming that you already automatically have. If you want to actually be something else, you have to do some work.
And then you start devolving, because if somebody just keeps putting garbage on top of garbage on top of garbage on top of garbage, what do you get? You get a pile of garbage. And what does it do? Have you ever been near a pile of garbage? Not very pleasant.
Exactly.
Okay.
And that's actually a very good point you're making, as we're looking at how we create in life too, because when somebody is acting more like a repellent instead of an attractor, that's exactly what happens. Is like, if you're living unconsciously, you're not aware, you're producing all these energies that are actually repelling instead of attracting. So if we look at, like, most people here who are listening, they are living consciously, they are doing their work, they are paying attention, they are self-aware, they're very, very intuitive, and usually conscious about like how they do what they do in life. And we know that the work that you do has to do with some layers of bringing the person into the next level of consciousness, something that then supports the inflow of opportunities and abundance and consciousness, as in whatever that they connecting to some divinity within them. So can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes. Okay. First of all, understand, I can do my work either in person or long distance. It doesn't matter. Okay. I can send energy. When I say that's shorthand. That doesn't just mean me, the person called Audrey. It means me and the guides and the energies that I work with. But if I say that every time, it just makes it a little cumbersome in language. So understand that's what I'm referring to when I say this. So I can do energy healings no matter where you are, whether you want to call them energy, frequency, spiritual, shamanic, divine, because I've studied babies and I do this stuff. And people grow. And if someone doesn't want to do anything, I want to say this in an elegant way. Okay, then they could have conditions. They could have, what's that called? Something conditions, like with people with the COVID thing. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
if people don't clear whatever their health thing is, then they're more likely to get other kinds of horrible things. And now that we have melting ice caps, the possibility, I don't want to empower melting ice caps, okay, but some of the shifts going on the
Yeah.
universe, we also have microbes and bacteria and things that we have not seen in millennia.
Yeah, they're
Not
coming
in
out of
a
the frozen ice.
long time. Our immune systems are not used to that because it was before we came trotting along. And some of those are getting, so you need a strong immune system. How do you get it? Okay. My opinion, meditate, truly, do breathing attunements. Listen to the language that comes out of your mouth. Look, what are you watching? You can watch funny things, okay? You can watch stuff, but if you watch all kinds of violence, if you watch all kinds of horror, it affects your brain, it affects your body, it affects your energetic frequency, it affects someone in a negative way. It isn't like, I'll just forget it. It doesn't work like that, okay? If you hear your internal dialogue, and sometimes it takes a moment to get conscious of the blah, 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 blah going on inside your head, and it's a lot of garbage, that's why the protective prayer, which I will say it to you, you will tell me when at the end and why it's so important. And the guides gave it to me around 1995, give or take, because my clients wanted to know, how do I release anger and rage and not put that junk into the universe? So they gave me the protective prayer, and I needed to know it because there are things that can say in my head, and I'm like, oh, I don't want that stuff in my head. And it's not good to then decide I'll bottle up anger. And then a person implodes. With women, when they do it, okay, I don't care if you're heterosexual, gay, cisgender, whatever, okay, they can then get depressed. That's no good. That's really horrendous. If men, and again, I don't mean it's so cut and dry, because we all have male and female within us energetically and hormones and stuff like that. So let me be really clear about that. But when people like that, if someone represses that, then they can get violent out of nowhere. They can do, and then there's all the acting out behaviors, whether it's with alcohol, whether it's with drugs, whether it's with whatever it might be. Okay. None of that's good. None of that is good. So back to getting healthy, you have to eat real food, not what I call faux food, which it's not even food, okay? All this processed garbage, it is going to hurt you. And if you want to live healthfully, you have a little bit, okay? But you can't live on that. You really can't. It won't take you through life. And I can say this because I've been around for a minute. This is real. You have to drink a lot of water. I drink a special kind of water called enagic Kangen water. It's, people can go and buy alkaline water at wherever, not the same as this. It's fresh made out of this machine.
Yeah, and this is a very important piece of transformation too, is that when we live consciously, we apply all those conscious techniques, from food, from how we sleep, what we dress in, what we watch, what we allow into our bodies, and so on, in order for us to raise our consciousness and actually become leaders in this world for transformation. So I know that this is the work you do, and I know you've been mentioning this prayer that you have for protection, right? So why don't we kind of explain what that is, and we'll put all the links in the show notes so that people can go and find out more.
Okay, so the protective prayer was given to me, as I said, because clients were asking, how can we get our anger and our rage and our fear and our all of that stuff out, okay, our depression out, without like making it a gunky thing in the world. So the guides gave me this. And yeah, it's on my website. You can print it out. It's my gift. So here's how it goes. You do it before you're doing any release process, any kind of transformational process. Definitely do this, because you will be releasing. You also do it, I certainly do it, when I catch myself having thoughts that, I don't want. When I get annoyed with whoever it is I might be getting annoyed with, when certain things going on the earth and I'm like, and I want to get those feelings out and I don't want it to really make a barfy thing in the world, but I'm not going to lie. That's no good. So here's how it goes. You're saying it to yourself, to God, the universe, source, goddess, whatever your words are. Anything I may say, whether I say it consciously or unconsciously with my mouth, my mind, or any other way, is to be taken into the universe as light and love. Anyone I may mention in any way, shape, or form, whether consciously or unconsciously, including myself, is to be protected in light and love. Any places, spaces, vibrations made available within me as a result of this process or anything else I may be doing is to be filled with light and love. And anyone else who chooses to be filled with light and love, may they also be filled with light and love. I do this for my highest good, the highest good of all concerned, the highest good of the universe. May this or something better occur. And then I complete, and I thank you, you give thank you. Aho, aha, ashe, and amen. Those are words that have meaning for you to kind of close it. And when you say this, you have to feel it. You have to mean it. You can't just go because that has no meaning. It has no oomph. When you want to manifest anything, you have to feel it, be it, sense it, and all that, and be at the place where it's already occurred. So I've been doing the protective prayer since 95. So the universe, and I know this already, it's not new for me, so I can go protect the prayer and feel it, send it like that. And so really use this. I use it a lot. And my clients, it's in all my courses, as well as a whole lot of other stuff. My clients really love this because who doesn't have sometimes some whatever going on in your mind? And sometimes it's hard to just stop it like this, whether it's thoughts about who's doing what about the climate, whether it's thoughts about what you have to do in your life about the climate and your own growth.
Exactly.
Okay?
It's an internal climate adjustment in order to affect the planetary energy. Well, this is great, Audrye. Thank you so much for being here. And we can find all sorts of information on audreynow.com. So very simple. The other links are also in description in the show notes, so you can check her out. And thank you so much for being here and sharing your wisdom with us today.
Thank you so much, Eugenia. This has been fabulous. And to everybody, blessings, 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 blessings. And conscious women, yes!